Hey guys, Taylor here. Now that the weather's getting a lot warmer, fun fact about me, I'm probably going to shave my beard sometime soon for the summer weather. But it reminded me of this story, which definitely has relevance to all of your lives, even though I'm talking about my beard. A few years ago, back in Boston, when I lived in Boston, I taught a class at a place called General Assembly that many of you may be aware of or have participated in. But I taught a class on personal branding and authentic storytelling. And when you think of personal branding, or when I say personal branding, I'm sure a lot of you think of social media influencers or people like myself who have created a brand or built out a business around themselves, just around themselves, as arrogant as that sounds, building a business about themselves. And so a lot of times people think about marketing and the branding involved with the business side of things, but I took a step back in the class that I taught, and I taught more about what comes before that messaging, before the marketing, before the branding. How do we dive into the authenticity of who you are and what you offer, and how to tell that as the story instead of just focusing on advertising or marketing. And what I did was I broke up the class into topics that I call the Narrative Triad, which are a few topics which I'm going to explain to you in separate videos. But the first topic of the triad relates to this video, and so I'll tell you about that. The first topic is called visual storytelling. Very basic kind of topic, but what it means is how you appear to the world. What about you is visible to the world, and what that says about you. So it's not just your clothing, but clothing and fashion play a huge role in visual storytelling because so much goes into the choice or lack thereof of what you're wearing during the day. But also a huge piece of it is body language and facial expressions and the way, not so much what we say, because that's in another category, spoiler alert, but about how we say it, how we present things to other people that makes people figure out how to interact with us. So it's a very big combination of, as that truck goes by making a lot of noise, it's a very big combination of what you're wearing and like how you're showing yourself, body language, as well as expressions and gestures. So as you've probably noticed with my videos, I use a lot of hand gestures. For me, the energy needed for speaking in any kind, like social conversations or to a video, I need to make it physical. I need to, like, moving my hands and moving my shoulders and moving my body helps me find words and helps me articulate it in the way that I want to. So that's why my hands are all over the place in these videos, but it's authentic to me and that's my way of expression. But how my beard plays into this is in the class I was teaching, we were doing this activity where we reflected on examples of visual storytelling and body language, and people brought up or pointed out my beard when I just had them speak to me or like analyze my visual story. And we ended up having like a 10-minute conversation just about my beard and what my beard says about me. And there are countless examples of people. For some reason I remember this story in some article about Brad Pitt, the famous actor, who it was just talking about how like his clothing style stays pretty similar, like the palette and all that, but his hair is just different all the time. He can just keep changing his hair, keep changing his beard, doesn't matter kind of thing. So that's his visual story. It's not so much about the clothing, it's about the hair that changes. But for me, it's different. And for all of us, it's different. So I had students who got up and was explaining how they had been in their pajamas all day long until they had to come to my class, and they were like, oh gosh, like, what do I wear? How do I want to present myself as a student in this professional kind of class setting, right? So the first step, before I go into any of the other topics in future videos, the first step is to think about this for yourself. Just ask yourself, how do your gestures and your facial expressions and your clothing share who you are? What story are they telling to everybody around you? Because you may be approachable in your body language or your clothing, you might be very tasteful, but the way that you show your facial expressions might turn people off for whatever reason, right? So what is the combination for you? What's the effect that you think you have on other people with all those elements of your visual story? Okay? That's what you should be thinking about for today, and in future videos I'll tell you the other two elements of the narrative triad.